There we go. Yep.
Yep. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'll be back in a bit.
Yep. Well, yeah. Great to see the pictures from Antarctica.
Yeah, that's just a few of them. I don't want to like put tons in there, but like, oh, we had an amazing experience.
Yeah. Great to No kidding. Must be
Okay.
awesome.
Oops. Oh, don't want to do that.
I got Brent on as well right now. Hey, he's early.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hey, Brent, you're two
Hey, how are
minutes
you?
early. You usually
Yep.
come on just about the stroke of.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I got everything. Everything was working. So I had
Good.
to log into anything. So it's already done.
And then Tim and Becky. Hi, guys.
Hello, Blair.
Hello.
Hey,
I
Brent.
should be up on
Tim?
And
on
we got
YouTube.
Jackie. Hey, Jackie.
Jackie's just getting herself situated right now. I had a brief little chat with her, and she the trip down to Antarctica was completely amazing. So awesome. And
I
she
was gonna.
requested the closed captioning, which is now on. So
Awesome.
there we go. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right.
Good.
Hey, Tim, did you get your test for the coaching? The did you pass that? The other tests you did, evaluations for the
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard back. I sent him to Blair. I haven't heard.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
I'm going to go through that on Thursday because my schedule is a little full these days.
Hmm.
Hey, Shane.
Hey, Shane.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm gimping around a little bit, but I'm fine.
Oh, what cow or cattle or whatever bull got you?
And yeah, I was helping a neighbor pull a calf, and I was behind her pulling it, and I went down, and my spur on my left heel stuck in the dirt, and she fell right on my toes.
Oh my
Oh,
God. Ow.
Not broken. I thought I heard it popped, and I got a little queasy, which normally when I break fingers, that's what I happen. I get queasy stomach, but X-rays showed no broken, but she's a pretty shade of purple.
Wow, that's usually an indication of broken. Yeah.
Shane, I can't help but recognize that you say, when I usually break my fingers, I'm nauseous. How many times have you broken said
Oh
digits?
yeah.
Well, there's at least
I
three.
see 10 fingers, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, but I can
Well,
see
you
them.
want to guess?
I was gonna say those pinkies look a little.
Well, there's at
Three.
least three there that I'd guess on.
Same. Three was the number that came for me as well.
I was gonna say, Shane, be careful because a buddy of mine who has a ranch up in Wyoming, they were branding and they were bringing the cows through the chutes, and
Hmm?
he reached in to brand, and the cow reared up and pinned his hand against the gate, and he took the tip of his finger off.
He's been tipped.
He's been tipped.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, no, I've broken five different fingers.
Oh, wow.
A couple arms broke, a leg broke. Yeah,
Rough business.
it's a
So,
rough life. It's a
so
rough life.
Yep, it is.
your comment then makes sense. You said it out loud, and I went, that means it's happened at least more than once,
Oh
more than
No
twice.
kidding.
yeah.
Hey, Patty and Colin, good to have you
Hey.
on.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yep.
Christy has some guests. I hope she is able to make it later on, but I don't know that either.
Okay.
Well, thank you for letting us know.
Well,
Yes.
Jane is unwell tonight, so she's going to be listening on YouTube.
Okay, well, it is on YouTube, so a shout out goes out to Jane on YouTube.
Jane, I hope you feel better.
Yeah, really.
So we are recording and everything is set.
Yep, and we're live on YouTube. So
And
everything's
Colin's
good.
here. Do we want to get going?
Yeah, might as well. I mean,
All
honestly,
right.
I
Do
think
you mind if
so.
I kick it off?
Nope, that's just fine.
Hey,
All right.
Jackie.
Hi,
Good to
Jackie.
see you.
Oh, yeah, that's much better, Jackie. Well done. Wherever you dug up a great spot to watch from or participate from.
Jackie, are you still in your travels and is it like the Arctic?
Only
No
if you
mic.
Mike's back.
No, Mike. Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
it's very low.
Shoot.
Yeah.
We can barely hear you, Jackie.
Kind of
We
hear
can
you.
hear you. Can you turn
I
up your
don't know how to
volume?
work these. I'm gonna try. I'll fiddle around with it. All right, let
Oh,
me
that's
see if I
actually
can ask my
better.
friend. Oh, is
Okay.
it? Oh, it could be the reception where I am. Oh, okay. I'll work on it.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can. Okay. Hi, Shannon.
Welcome, Shannon. All right, Colin.
All right, Colin. Let's
All
kick
right,
it
I'll kick
off.
it off. Welcome to the 339th episode of the Blair Dunkley Experience, where we discuss mind models. Mind models are a collection of extensively tested thought frameworks, skills, and behaviors that enable people to transform their lives intentionally. Your host for this evening is Blair Dunkley, the creator of mind models. The BDE is Blair's free gift to you and is an opportunity to learn, experience, and practice mind models in a safe, real-world environment. My name is Colin Jewett, along with your co-hosts and certified mind model coaches Tim and Becky Graff and Patty McClurg. Mind models have helped me personally eliminate lifelong social anxiety in a matter of weeks, dramatically reduce my chronic stress, and improve my sleep when nothing else seemed to be working consistently. All of this without traditional counseling, medication, or significant changes in my life circumstances. We look forward to learning with you tonight, and welcome to the BDE.
And welcome, Sally.
Good to
Hi,
have you,
Sally. Welcome.
Hi, Sally.
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
So is this your first time? First time with us?
Second time. I was a few weeks ago, but I was unable to attend the last 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, welcome, welcome. Did you receive the free gift about the master class of the 3 E's? Did you receive that?
Yes, I
That-
did get that.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, we're glad you're with us tonight.
Thank
So
you.
take it away, Tim.
Real quick.
Yep.
We're going to do some quick announcements. Just a reminder, the current 5-day business challenge is underway. If you weren't able to get registered, please stay tuned. We're going to be having that upcoming. You'll want to make sure that you attend that. And for those of you who are currently part of the challenge, stoked to hear from you guys what your takeaways are from that and continue to learn how mind models are helping you make a difference in your business and your personal life. And then as a reminder, Blair has put together an awesome opportunity for you guys to get deeper insight into what we're talking about with his BDE Insider Notes. They are available from episode 318 and ongoing. So everything that's been done since then, you can get access to those where he goes deeper and get different explanations as a robust opportunity for you to enhance your learning here inside of with the mind model, inside of the Blair Dunkley experience. It's $25 a month, $300 a year, and Blair's posted the link for the challenge sign up, and I will go ahead and post the link for those insider notes. If you haven't got your hands on it, definitely recommend it. It's a fabulous resource. And with that, I'll turn it over to my husband, Tim, and we will get moving into our new material for tonight.
And you guys, if you're on YouTube, it's great to have you here. Hello. And yeah, and Jane, welcome. I heard you're on YouTube.
Listening from
So,
YouTube.
if you're on YouTube, drop some comments. We'd love to hear how you experience the conversation tonight. With that, tonight we're going to be doing over the next 4 weeks it's a series, 4-week series. And we're going to be talking about the 4 A's of deep listening. And diving into the first A of deep listening tonight, the first A is attitude. So we're going to be discussing the attitude that is there with listening. So with that, I have a question for everybody. Is there a difference between hearing someone and listening to someone?
Or something.
or something. Yeah. Is there a difference between hearing and listening?
Shane just came off mute.
What do you think, Shane?
Well, considering that Chris and I just had this conversation last night, yes, there's definitely a difference between hearing someone and actually attentively listening.
I'm curious. What is that, Shane?
well,
Or how do you experience the difference?
well, experience that, like, I mean, it's no excuse. We live crazy hectic lives. We're busy. We talk to each other, but sometimes there's so much things going on in between your ears that you're talking to somebody or your spouse and you hear them, but you don't have a clue. I'm pretty intuitive. I can repeat back the words that she said or some keywords, but was I listening intently to really understand what she's trying to get across? No. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Brent, any thoughts? You look deep in thought.
Yeah, from what Shane was saying, so maybe like the levels of listening with the intent, but he's got so much going on, but he's still listening a little bit, but not with the intention to focus solely on the conversation because he's able to not just hear the things, but some like the key words, like some things that are important. So there's maybe like some sort of not just hearing, but so like an in between. So there's not maybe not like a strict separation between the two. You got to hear in order to listen. Things come in, but where is your focus in your intention? Like what Shane was talking about.
Yes. I
So
love that.
what's the difference, Brent?
Yeah. What?
Brent, what's the difference?
Oh, between hearing and listening?
Yeah.
Oh, I would let's see if I can put this into explanation. Um, with the intent and focus is where I come active, like an active participant. You're actively looking or listening for things and
What are
intently
those things that you're
parking.
listening for?
Not just the words, but the communications, the non-word communication that comes across, visual with body, tone, inflection, those things. Not just the words that come out, hearing those words, but like those little subtleties that you can pick up on that communication comes across. That's what like the main difference between just hearing and listening.
And how come it's called deep listening, not deep hearing? In fact, you know what, Brent, I'm going to let you off
Mhm.
the hook and throw
Okay.
this one over to Colin.
How come it's called deep listening and not deep hearing?
Yeah.
Whoa. Um, hmm.
We've discussed
So,
around this concept.
yeah,
Not
so to me, the hearing is a sensory description, and listening is a describe that has more to do with intention and interpretation, not sensation. That's how I would distinguish the two.
okay, but what are we listening for with that
Meaning,
listening intent?
meaning,
Right,
intent.
right.
Yeah.
Like simply put, meaning is the driver, is it not?
Hmm.
And Shane, when you and Christy were having your discussion about this very thing, I'm was your um listening, you're probably tied up doing something else. Or
No,
Sounds like
Shane?
I'm
he's
listening.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
listening.
Okay,
I'm
what are you
listening.
listening to? Are you getting
I'm
the
listening.
what was the difference between what was the meaning part of what was being said?
With you or with Christy?
Christy, sorry.
With Christy, I mean, and the meaning is that she feels, which she has a right to name and label her feelings, that I listen, but I don't hear her. I don't feel her passion. I don't feel her. Um, I don't feel her. I'm trying to describe that word. I don't. I'm not I'm not feeling what she's putting out there. I'm not feeling the emotion that she's trying to put forward because I'm just hearing. I'm just listening. I'm not hearing. Yeah.
Okay, which
So
way are we going to lean on this with the hearing and listening? Because it's
I need to I need to be more I need to be more listening. I need to be more involved and put whatever it is that's going on in between my ears aside and actually listen to her and give her the desire, give her the attention that she deserves, and listen to what she and listen to what she had to say and engage in that conversation.
okay. Okay.
Engagement.
In true, like, but now you're reading notes and
No,
impact.
I'm not.
Oh,
I am
okay.
not
Oh,
reading.
no,
I don't
engagement
have
is
any
a good one.
notes.
Okay, no, no, no. I was thinking about the meeting chat there because Jackie wrote down impact. So,
Oh,
and I'm trying to stand on the Rick, whatever that is. Sorry, can't quite make it out. Anyway,
deck maybe.
yeah,
Looks like she's outside now.
rock.
Ah,
Yep. Okay. So, so which is easier to do, hear or listen?
it's easier to hear because you can still do it. Yeah, just it's easier to hear.
Yep.
It takes more energy to actually engage your brain and listen.
Correct. Now, from a point of view or perspective, and Tim, feel free to jump in any time on here. But on this perspective of listening and doing a deeper dive on deep listening, and we're focusing in on the BDE here with attitude. What is the attitude that we want to pay attention to? What is some of the ways we can address the attitude issue? So maybe back to Colin.
Oh, okay, same question. He's
Yeah,
just I don't know how you dodged that, Tim.
he was sipping stuff at the time, but then
Oh man, I can do that too.
yeah, I know. So yeah, and I left my water bottle out of here, so I need to go get that.
I got
And
this.
everybody's drinking water, so and
Mhm,
Patty's
mhm.
doing the same thing. So okay, so
Great question,
So
Jackie.
the oh, whose attitude? Yeah, nice, Jackie. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking like my attitude as the listener, like what is my orientation towards the situation and the person and what's being said. Um, what's my angle? What's my bias isn't exactly the word I want, but it's somewhere in that universe.
So, do you want to be listening to your own internal self-talk here?
No, no. Not if I'm talking to someone else.
Okay, so then how come you're paying attention to your biases?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Hmm. I guess it's not like hmm. It's not like while they're talking. It's more of I guess it would be more effective if it was before slash and in pauses space of just like it's like this little self-assessment or self-check-in of like how am I filtering what's being said.
What if you don't need to filter what's being said per se, but just accepting it might be sufficient?
That would be great. But I guess that's the purpose of questioning, right? Like am I doing that or am I not doing that? Like that's the check-in.
Exactly. So, you know what? You might be able to get out of yourself by doing what? Tim, how might that work?
Can you ask that again, Blair?
Sure. So, how might somebody get out of themselves when listening? Like, what can you do?
That is a great question and one that I have worked on myself. One of, I guess, my default, one of the biggest, it's being intentional when you come to a conversation and parking yourself. But it comes to the awareness, first of all, of how I'm coming into the conversation, I'll put it that way. As an example, and I may have shared this before, but I found myself there was a period of time in my life where I was around people that were constantly in a why state.
Mhm.
Life was doing all sorts of things to them. They were victim mentality, and it was just a constant wah, wah, wah fest. And so I found that when I got around these people, I was just hearing, not actually listening. They would start talking. I would allow it to go in and basically out the other ear, and I wasn't truly hearing what they were saying. I would sit nod and so like I was engaged in the conversation, but I wasn't truly hearing a word they were saying. And then, I would go on about my day. Struggle is that became a habit that I started doing because I was around these people quite a bit. And then I noticed that when I was around other people that weren't necessarily in Y states and things, I was hearing, but I wasn't actually listening. So my attitude towards hearing and listening was I created this habit that basically was not effective, and I wasn't truly intentionally listening to the words that were coming out of people's mouths. And so one of the things that I had to start doing was noticing when I was in a conversation, going, okay, I'm intentionally going to listen here and focus on the person in front of me, park whatever I've got going on, and truly listen to what they have to say. And focusing on the words, the keywords and phrases, as we call it here at the Blair Dunkley Experience, that they were actually saying. And as I paid attention to what those keywords and phrases were, I found that I was actually able to stay engaged in the conversation.
Right.
I don't know if that's kind of the direction you were going, Blair,
Yeah,
or
sort of, but I like to sort of simplify this and get it
sure.
down to something. Becky, you look like you want to bite on this bone here.
She might have had experience in this.
I may have some personal experience. No, for me, I find that when I have to really watch my attitude when I'm going into conversations. So whether it's coaching or even like between Tim and I, but I really to truly hear someone, to truly like, and we say hear, when I say it like that, I'm smushing understand,
Yeah,
comes
you
from
are.
a place
And listening.
and listening, okay?
Yeah.
It's coming from a place of true, genuine curiosity and care and concern for the other person and what they have to communicate to me. So
Mhm.
an attitude of curiosity,
Mhm.
really, truly putting the person whom I'm on the phone with or in front of as the focal point for my wandering thoughts. And it comes
Okay.
from, oh, sorry, Blair. Yes.
No,
Okay.
no, no, no worries. You're starting to get very, very close to the whole thing of deep listening. And it might be easier than what we think it is. Um, so you were saying something about the attitude that you have of being curious and holding that person some way in your mind, like
That's it.
with intention or with um, you know, right there. Now, might there be a way that we could just cut to the chase and get there quicker?
Jackie actually, I think Jackie put it in a chat. She's
Holding
Yep.
got holding another as important.
and being
Perfect,
present.
Jackie. I knew you'd figure this
Well
stuff
done,
out.
Jackie.
Yep.
Yep.
Be in the present and hold the other person as important. And the second that you hold people important, are you not curious?
Yes.
Does that not kick in your curiosity? And don't you have to be present in order to hold that person important? Go
Really
for it.
I find that I have to, like, depends on where the conversation between, Christy and I, or whoever it is, but I kind of find that I have to make a shift, a physical shift, to turn away from, even if the distractions are literally in my head, I have to make a physical shift to turn to do something. Because if Christy's talking over here, go ahead, Blair.
And what is that physical shift? What do you
Well, I
actually
mean,
do?
it could be, getting up out of my chair. It could be moving,
It
moving
could be, but
from the bar stool.
what will it always include?
Facing Christy.
Okay, so what do we call that? You guys went through it in Mind Model Method Coach training. It's not a common mind model, but it's one that, big hint here, it's got 5 parts to it.
Awareness, notice,
No,
and then not an and two. I'm not
no,
accounting.
no,
Starts with an
Yes.
F, ends with an R.
Fiber,
yes,
fiber.
that's right. And the eye contact is that thing that you need to engage with so that that person knows you actually are engaged with care and concern.
And to that,
Otherwise, you just are nodding and doing whatever and yeah, next, next, next. But if you look at somebody and you hold them as important, what happens to the attitude in deep listening? So, Becky,
becomes
Shane, go ahead.
becomes you become in alignment with whoever you're having a conversation with.
And how difficult is that?
It depends on how mad Christy is. No. It usually I can pick on Christy because she's not here. She's gonna watch this on YouTube and she's gonna beat me with a sorting stick tomorrow when we're sorting cows. But no, once you
She's
You
going
know,
to
do
use
that.
that electric cattle prod on you.
it gets my blood pressure up. I don't like being shocked. Me and electricity don't get along.
definitely fix your attitude, Shane.
yeah, for sure. No, I mean, you get alignment with whoever you're talking to. I mean, it just makes them feel understood. It makes them feel care and concern, compassion, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to share really quick, if I may, Blair, that we're talking about attitude. I want to share just a definition of attitude. It's the way you think and feel, position or posture of the mind and body appropriate to or expressive of an action, emotion, etc. It's externally verifiable and internally verifiable. So very much to what we've been talking about here just over the last couple minutes is your manner, your disposition, a feeling, position, etc. With regard to a person or a thing, and tendency or orientation, especially in your mind. So just kind of, and back to what Blair has shared a few times, a lot of communication is non-word. In fact, 93% of communication is non-word. And so when you're turning, when you're engaging with the person, when your body posture, when all of, you're in the, as Blair shared, the fiber of communication with somebody, it is so, your attitude, you can't help but shift your attitude. In fact, when you're holding each other as important and you're engaged in that conversation and you are listening to each other, it's I would say tough to have, depending on the conversation. It's tough to have an attitude.
They have an attitude. It's just kind of. You have an attitude. It's just where is your
It's a
attitude?
type of, yeah, I guess
Right.
what type?
Jackie.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. I just wanted to respond to a question Blair asked earlier. It was, what is easier, active listening or just listening? No, deep listening or just listening. Well, uh, someone commented listening. I kind of actually feel that listening is actually just listening is more uncomfortable than deep listening, because you get embarrassed because you get caught out and you don't get anywhere and it causes waves. So short term, it may appear to be more effective, but however, in the long term, I feel that if, no, I feel that if, that's not really, I feel um, more secure in the relationship if I actually take the time to deep listen. It prevents complications down the line when they say, "Oh, remember the other day when I was talking to you and you said this and you agreed," and you're like, "What? What?" Anyway, that's just my take on the deep listening and the listening part.
Thank you. Yes, I tend to agree with you, by the way, on the deep listening and listening. So,
What-
and welcome to Ashley.
Hey,
I was just
Ashley.
gonna say, I'm gonna just welcome Ashley. Good to see your face.
Yep.
And I'm curious, Sally,
Yep.
what's coming up for you in this conversation? Any thoughts you'd like to add?
I need to unmute myself before I talk. I think with deep listening, though, too, it's also getting and understanding the other person's feelings and trying to take my own perspective and thoughts away from putting that on them, and just really listening to them, understanding their feelings, how they're responding, that body language, as opposed to just, I'm listening, I'm hearing your words, I hear you, but and we say, oh yeah, we're listening, but we're not. It's also attention, and giving them that, as best we can, attention singly, and not having things go on and around us, or in our mind, which is
Mhm.
really hard nowadays, because we all have so much to do. But it really is focusing and not judging what they're saying, or not thinking that what it is maybe shouldn't be important, or they shouldn't feel that way, or they're overreacting, or whatever things that kind of want to come in for us to get rid of that, and try to just understand their focus and their feelings.
Is it just their feelings or their feelings and their meaning?
Their feelings and their meaning.
Yeah, because it's a minor, in today's society, we do focus on everybody has the right to feel whatever they're feeling. And it's true, we do. However, sometimes we get a lot of mixed communication because we focus on the feelings and we interpret their words for their feelings as we interpret the same words, but as our feelings, which are, if we dive deep into those feelings, probably are slightly out of alignment. So they don't feel the same way. Saying I love you from one person and an I love you back from another person does not necessarily mean that, Sally, I'm sorry, that smile was a little too obvious on your face, just sort of leapt out of you. And it's like, okay, she relates. It's like these two I love yous are like passing in the wind practically, and yet we're saying the same word. So, or describing the same feeling. And so, and both honestly as well. So that's a big deal.
Right. And they both are true for each person,
Correct.
but what they are for each person is different as well.
And that's where deep listening starts listening for those feeling words, and hopefully you can get curious enough to start aligning the meanings. Like, okay, you say you love me or you like me or whatever it is. And what happens here is you wind up at that spot and you go, oh, well, what do you mean by that? And what is that to you? So that people can get on the same page. Because sometimes they're in another book, such as men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So not in the same um, part of the solar system. Not in the same ballpark, but not on the same planet. So there we go. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Um, Becky, Tim, where do you want to take it from here?
I was curious, Patty, I haven't heard from you. Thoughts on attitude and deep listening?
What I'm hearing, I'm thinking part of deep listening is slowing down. It's not something that we've talked much about yet, but the need to slow down, not just slow down what's in your mind, but slow down your body, slow down everything to create space and time to gather meaning, to be curious, to engage somebody else. Um, I have a grandchild who works really hard to get his words out, and he's so intentional and he's working so hard. And in order to create an atmosphere that allows him to actually finish a sentence, I take a breath, I slow down, I slow my energy down, and I just say, I'm listening, and then I be quiet and just let him work through his sentence. But that requires a real conscious effort, and we've not talked much about conscious and unconscious either. But the kind of listening that Blair's talking about with deep listening is a very conscious, intentional thing. And the slowing down, the bringing your energy to that and what you do with your energy, creating an atmosphere where another person feels valued. All of those things are part of attitude with deep listening.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, Patty. You're mentioning slowing down. I think slowing down and actually being conscious in the present moment when you're having a conversation is one of the best ways to stay curious, one of the best ways to stay in alignment with the other person. And yeah, I mean, just taking that moment to slow down and be present and be there. I also wanted to, out of curiosity, I want to ask the group, how does our tone represent our attitude? Colin?
Somehow I knew you were going to say my name. Well, if you listen to it, uh, I I think the two are inextricably connected. Like it's really hard to hide attitude. It comes out, it leaps out in tone.
What do you mean?
And
What was that, Becky?
I said,
it's leaning in.
what do you mean, Colin? How does eke out in everything? How does that? I was playing with you. I was
I
attempting to be
I
very over exaggerated. Exactly.
I understood. Thank you. Yeah, well, I mean, the more that this is, I've been during this call even, I've really been trying to practice deep listening, and um, what I've been finding myself doing is um, like simulating the experience of saying what the person is saying that's talking. Does that make any sense when I say that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and trying to just in real time put myself in the position of the speaker and like get crawl into their skin. And um, it's like if I were speaking in that way with that tone, what would my face do? What would my facial expressions be? What would my feeling be? And just like let that happen naturally, instead of like analyzing it consciously per se.
Mhm.
The other side of the coin there is when you do that more effectively, and is, or a way to do that slightly more effectively is to also park yourself. So if you know yourself very well, and unfortunately, I have to say this, most people don't. They're a little clueless about themselves, but they've got insights, so they think they know themselves very well. But they try to park themselves, and when they successfully basically park themselves, then take on exactly how that person said it, you get a level of clarity of how that person's brain is operating. At least I do. And that's one of the tools that I use for figuring out how to profile people. But I have to get myself out of the way first. And that was the big trick, because we get in our own way. We have all of these assumptions, all of these life experiences, and you got to just drop all that crap and just listen with an open, like a truly open mind, from how they're putting everything together, and every tone, every utterance, every facial expression that they're delivering is now mine. And when I take that on, then I start getting a sense of how they think and feel, or might be thinking and feeling. It still is assumptions, but it's higher quality assumptions.
Blair, the more I've been attempting to do this, what I've been finding is I'm struggling to be able to name and label the aspects of that experience in real time. I kind of have to do it after.
Hmm.
Um, is that how you experience it still, or are you able to somehow do it at the same time?
Yep, I
Which
got it. So it
the
just,
first or second?
yeah, I'm able to experience it in the real time.
And you're
So
able to do the naming and labeling at the same time, like
I don't do it consciously anymore because I have to get myself out of the way.
yeah, I
Because
guess
the naming and labeling is not, that's me doing the naming
yeah,
and labeling.
right. That's what I
So
was
that's
wondering. It's
not
like I
them.
can't if I'm actually like running their program and with my circuitry, so to speak, like I haven't been
Well,
able to.
what you got to do is get your circuitry out of the way and just blank out your mind and go, oh, that's how they did it. That's how they got there. And it's a blank canvas.
Yeah. And so in order to like analyze it, you can't really, well, I can't. I have not been able to do that in real time. It
No,
has to
you,
be like
you can't
after.
ever analyze it,
Yeah.
because it's like you're analyzing yourself.
Right.
What you can do is experience it.
Yeah.
And that's as good as it gets. But that's really good, because then when you're sharing and talking and engaging with them, you can take that meta pattern and put that meta pattern that they gave you about how they were thinking in your brain, and make high probability guesses about other things that they haven't spoken about at all.
hmm And
And,
does that
and
have to
test that.
does that have to come after the experience though, not at the same time?
Well, for me in profiling, I need about 10 to 30 seconds of somebody's language pattern, and I have enough of that pattern, the meta pattern.
Yeah.
And then I plug it in and I ask myself, okay, with that pattern, how would they behave in a relationship, or how would they behave in and extrapolate business, and what would get them,
Yeah.
what would create a problem for them? Where's their gap, or where's their strengths in that pattern? Or not where is theirs, it is theirs, but it's how do I perceive gaps there? How do I perceive strengths there?
Yeah,
So
not to beat a dead horse, but this has been an epiphany to me in like the last few days of because I was trying so hard in conversations to do like to uh, to pick things apart as they were happening, and in doing it just made it impossible to like actually listen at the same time, and I found
absolutely
myself
true.
bouncing back and forth, and that didn't feel effective either. And
It's
so
because it
this
isn't.
makes a lot. I mean, yeah, this makes so much more sense.
It's just to be in an is state, but it's their is, not yours.
Yeah.
And I think this connects to what Patty was saying too, being in an is state, as you just stated, and then slowing down and like having
Yes,
that
Mhm.
allows you to be effective, more effective with the questions you ask to seek for alignment and clarity. So
exactly.
you're able to frame questions that land more effectively for them so that they can have the clarity or the awareness, and you can clarify any assumptions it seems like or seems as if this and this is going on because you're in that space, like you're putting yourselves in their shoes so that you can check in with them and reflect it back.
And see
So
if you can reflect it back, because these are just these are
yes.
just assumptions, and you have to hold them as assumptions, not as fact or as you know it. It's just an assumption. And it has to be confirmed or rejected by them, not by you. Now, because the second that you feel this is true, no, it can't possibly, you can't get that feeling that it's true for them because you feel it. That's not possible because you're not them. It's a possibility of how they may perceive things. That's all.
And
And
this,
sorry.
go ahead, Blair.
Well, when, like Colin, Jackie wrote in there, Colin, where is your focus? Is it on the information or is it on there is? That's my reinterpretation of what you said there, Jackie, in the comments. My thing is just focus on what is, what they said, and don't interpret anything until you take it out of the experience and make
Mhm.
a hypothetical, not even a hypothetical, just a high probability guess about something they didn't say and see if it fits.
And I think this is where ask versus tell comes in as
Yep.
well,
Oh, yeah.
because we are able to slow down enough and be holding them with enough care and concern and as important to be able to ask the questions instead of telling them based on this, it seems you're doing X, Y, and Z versus it seems this is going on for you. What about that is an alignment or are there discovery questions so that
How
they can
about just something simpler? Is that true? Is that accurate?
Mhm.
so
Because
they
I
can
want to get as direct a response as I can without creating any kind of confrontation and just asking them, is that how you see it? Is that accurate? Because if it isn't accurate, drop it, move along. You're still in your own way. You're not seeing it from their point of view. You're seeing it from your point of view. I mean, it's very difficult to profile. And I always tell people if you're going to learn how to profile people, it takes about between 3 and 10,000 hours, 3,000 and 10,000 hours.
was this
Yeah, or getting into too much content and not process, because that's the key in terms of other people. I'm hearing their process on how they're thinking by listening to their language pattern. When I take that process model and plug it into my brain, then I can tell them my assumptions of what I think might be going on. Then I just ask, is that accurate? Does that make sense? And they go yes or no or whatever. So enough of that because it's back to attitude and deep listening. But this is like really deep listening to get yourself out of the way and hold that other person important. So you are in like that's how they are, or that's what is for them. It takes no judgment, no interpretation, no nothing, just listening specifically to what's going on and not interpreting anything. Every word, every utterance, every tone is what they are meaning to say with their meanings attached. Now, you can test out to see if the meaning that they're giving you is in alignment with what they intended to give you. Does that make sense, Colin?
Yes.
Yeah. I did a lot of that when I was working through with people with anger management issues. So their meanings of their words were not defined well enough. I'm mad, I'm angry, I want to hit, those were the words that they started getting if I got them to say words before they hit. Okay. So those were the issues.
I just wanted to interrupt real quick and say welcome, Christy. Did see you slide in back there.
Yeah.
Curious what your thoughts are and what you've heard thus far tonight. Do you care to share?
I don't know if we have time.
Not the cattle prod, not the electrical cattle prod part.
Yeah, I caught a lot of that. And then I ran through the shower real quick and I put on YouTube in the shower while I was listening. So I really enjoy what Patty was saying about slowing down and being intentional, and of course with fiber. And I know that for me, and just for whatever, like I can get really bad attitude with Shane and I's conversation sometimes, and whatever his attitude, I can get attitude. Even if my day is whatever, Shane comes in with some attitude or something, we match. So we have to be very mindful on, maybe I need to remember that, what he was just doing could be, whatever, like he hurt his foot this weekend. And so, anyway, and then like the tone and stuff, I liked how we were talking about setting the tone. Can even mean not necessarily even my voice, but my posture, the way I present myself. And again, I had wrote down just the tone, like if I'm mad, Shane gets mad. And he didn't even have any reason to, or vice versa. Just so that's just stuff that we work on. And
Okay, so what is he doing when you're mad and then Shane comes in? He wasn't mad, then he does get mad. What is that?
well, it's I feel that so when I'm mad at something and he comes in and then he gets mad from what I'm saying, then I feel he's not even listening to me. But then he's mad.
Okay, can I remind you of some of the mind models here?
For sure.
Great. So might that be that he is subconsciously getting into rapport with you?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
and it probably it's not comfortable, but he's getting into rapport with you.
Mhm.
It doesn't work well, but it is effective because at the end of the day, you sort of feel misunderstood in an understanding manner of sorts.
Yeah.
Like it's complicated, but it semi works.
It is. Then we do have a like, okay, take a minute, breathe. And then, there's times when I know Shane's got a lot running in his head because of There's no looking at me when we're talking. He seems preoccupied. Or when I'm trying to have a conversation, he tries to finish what I'm saying. And I'm like, that isn't even at all where I'm going with this. So you need to just listen and let me finish what I'm saying. So then I have attitude. So,
Yeah.
Your face is being really loud right now.
yes.
There you go.
And
I gave that one back to you, Becky.
well, I love that this whole, conversation around attitude and tone, because I want to like transition this slightly and ask the question, how does our tone and our attitude impact how we speak to and listen to ourselves? Where does that play? Brent, what do you think?
So like your self-talk, essentially, you're referring to? Is that okay? I would say it's the same thing as if you're doing it to same as somebody else, you're just doing it to yourself. If you're if you're coming from a place of judgment, of anger, but you're directing that talk to yourself, that tone, it's still gonna come out. Even if it's internal, it's still projected as that would be externally. So yeah, it definitely impacts that relationship with yourself, and you feel those words. It's still, whether they come from somebody else or you, it's still going to affect you. So
Mhm.
And how does that interplay or influence your conversations with others? So your own personal intonation and attitude about your own stuff inside
yeah,
you
um,
influence your communication and interaction with other people.
yeah, I would. It definitely makes it difficult, and it habits, right? It builds a habit of the way you talk to yourself. You externalize that, and it would be projected. You would use that onto other people, like Tim was saying, that habit. And I've done that too, build a habit of doing things, in one situation, but it just so many times it just carries over to every situation and experience. So you building that habit of doing that. So how you talk to yourself comes out externally, and how you communicate and talk with others as well. So
So does that habit
mhm.
reinforce an attitude that you have with yourself?
Yeah.
So if it's negative self-talk or ineffective self-talk, you're reinforcing your own sense of maybe not deserving, or maybe whatever that negativity is that you're perceiving, you're just reinforcing that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
energy
powerful.
too that you'll carry. Yeah, that energy, you carry that. That self-confidence, you won't have that self-confidence in areas if you continue to do so. That's your focus, and then that's your focus on others as well. If your habit to focus on that yourself, and then makes it difficult you're not practicing separating yourself. What is what is, and then looking at it that way. That's not gonna be the case with others. You'll be
Does
searching
that
for.
sometimes encourage others to look at you similarly to how you look at yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
And when that occurs, especially in more personal relationships, does that sometimes create conflict because the person doesn't want to be seen the way that they see themselves, and somebody else is sort of pointing that out, and how
Yeah.
that creates significant arguments in
Mhm.
relationships
Yeah, the
because
confrontations there. Yeah.
we're actually trying to hide from ourselves, but we can't, and we draw that person into seeing our mirrored self in a way that is not as effective as we'd like it to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we don't see ourselves positively. We don't see ourselves effectively. And yet others can see ourselves as effectively, but we dismiss that. And we become very dismissive to that positive input because we're not used to getting the positives. Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
interesting too, because if we slow down like Patty recommends and has talked about tonight, and we listen to how we talk to ourselves
Mhm.
and the words that we actually say, it really is indicative of the attitude that we hold about ourselves.
Mhm.
And it's important to listen and hear, not just hear, right? But listen to ourselves as well so that we can identify is what I'm saying actually true? Is it effective? Is it serving me? Like there's a lot of ways that can go. And Ashley, good to see you actually not in your car. I was curious, do you have any thoughts on what we're talking about tonight and like to share?
It's so great to see you, Ashley.
Yeah, you guys too. It's kind of been all over the place. I apologize just because we've been driving and then stopping and starting. But I think the biggest thing that when we were talking like probably 5 minutes ago, it's really about registering like how people are talking, not so much what they're saying. And really like that was kind of what Blair was talking about to understand like what is their actual thought process. Because a lot of the times the words that we use are more habits, but it's how we're actually thinking and how we're actually talking that is the bigger tell of what's really there and what's really lying underneath.
Mhm. Also, there's a thing here that when we are talking and having self-talk, if our self-talk is not effective, we disregard other people telling us what is effective, and we don't buy in, we don't believe it because there's no room in our system to say, well, that's true. Even though we hear it and we can acknowledge it, we don't hold ourselves important, so that we have to hold ourselves like, we talk about others and holding other people important, and you can't be more important or less important. You have to be equally important. Well, what if you talking to yourself is not holding yourself important? In fact, the you that's talking keeps on knocking the internal self down, part of the two yous that are inside of everybody. We have the devil and the angel, inside of ourselves. We have the demon and the angel. Well, these are common metaphors throughout life, that we have these two parts of ourselves, but it's holding both important so that they can both be seen and heard by yourself, knowing full well that we are all flawed beings, but we're all miraculous beings as well. And we can really do a lot of good. And we are all beautiful in our own way. And we're all ugly in our own way. We're not always that thing. I mean, it's whichever one of these two yous inside of you is winning or losing at the time. That's how we see ourselves. But it's to hold ourselves important, that these are important aspects of who we are, so we can communicate with others in a balanced self. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
I appreciate that, Blair. And as we mentioned, this is the first of 4 series. So we're going to go into some more aspects of deep listening as we continue on the next couple weeks. I think right now, though, it's a great transition point for wrap up. So we have enough time. Patty, would you like to lead us in wrap up, please?
Sure. So great discussion tonight. For Sally and Ashley, I don't know if you've been part of a wrap up before, but what we do is go around and I'll ask if you wish to participate. You're very free to say no, but we rate on a scale of 1 to 10 the value that you took out of this experience tonight for yourself. It's not how well did Blair do or how well did anybody else do. It's what value did you take out of it for yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, and then to share one thing that you took home with you for value that you might be able to use. So I'll do a few people first. You can listen, and then when I come to you, like I said, yes, Blair.
Can I just, Ashley, can the gentleman next to you, I'm sorry.
Derek.
Derek, do you want to briefly comment on anything, or would you like to participate in the wrap up as well when it comes around?
Not today. I just haven't heard enough of it and been there. I've kind of heard it, but I've been a little bit preoccupied with other things like driving. So,
Yes. Okay.
yeah,
I
I was
just
going
thought
to
I'd check in and
I
acknowledge.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Okay, Patty, back to you.
yes, yes, Derek, you were hearing but not listening.
Good example.
Yes, great example. I do hope you'll join us again another time.
For sure.
Mhm.
So, Brent, would you start us off? Would you like to participate in wrap up?
Yeah. Man, like you said that earlier, this information, I know we went over this once before in our class, but just to digging in a little more in the conversations of uh digging in like deeper into the deep listening and like digging into that all the information. I looked at the clock earlier. I was like, it's only like 9:20. I just like so much packed in the beginning. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's so much. It's probably a little later. I checked. I'm like, man, there's so much more to go. So I was quite filled and taking notes. So this was one I'm looking forward to getting the note section as well. So I can get more information on that and then go back and watch some of this. So I can see explanations you had as well as Blair and uh, Tim and Becky and Colin going over those pieces, and Sally did as well. I missed some because I wasn't listening. I was writing something down, so I I, I missed parts of it. But yeah, I'd give it a 9 for me. Yep.
Thank you, Brent. I appreciate that. Shane put in the chat 8.5 for me. I always love deep listening. I still have a lot to learn, and that is from Jane. She was keeping in touch with us via text. I think she texted Shane, and I know she texted me with different comments, looking at mentioning the hearing people seeking for alignment in, when Blair was talking about rapport between Christy and Shane, seeking that alignment. So Jane, we're very glad that you were able to join us on YouTube and that you were participating in your own resourceful way. So thanks bunches. Jackie, are you able to participate in wrap up tonight?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, great. So what I realized this evening is that when I have my phone, I'm listening to myself and I'm not deep listening. I'm distracted and I have dialogue going on in the background. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down my phone and start to deep listen to myself, because I think I'm going to be able to be more effective. Yeah, I would give it a 10 tonight.
Well, thank you. Where in the
you.
world are you tonight, Jackie?
A place called Mar de Salta. It's in Argentina.
In Argentina.
Mm.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us tonight, Jackie.
Thanks for having me.
Let's see. Shane and Christy, would you like to participate and wrap up tonight?
Yes, I'm gonna go first. Is that okay? Big 9 for me. I always I really hurried to get here on time, but I always get so much out no matter what time I jump in. I thought it was a really great reminder for me that listening isn't about me. It's about who I'm listening to.
Mhm.
That was really something. And I liked how it was said that listening to someone, listening to how someone is thinking by hearing their process. I thought that was kind of interesting, and I strive to be a better listener all the time, and I remember that I have littles that watch my attitude and the choices I make on how to act and react and listen and stuff. So Tonight was great. I love it. And nice to meet Sally and Sherrick and Ashley and Derek. I know you said that you didn't want to join this time. Hopefully you will. I promise you you're going to be hooked. So welcome.
And just for clarification, when Chris says littles, that means our grandkids. That's her littles for those who didn't know. But yeah, I'm gonna one up Christy and go 9.5.
Whatever, Shane.
Just because we're a bit competitive. We do feed off each other. We do, whether we intentionally do it or not, we, like Blair said, rapport. However, like Christy's attitude, my attitude, vice versa. We really do feed off each other. But the fiber of communication was great tonight. The deep listening, slow down. I like that a lot. Patty, I do have a sticky note that I wrote a long time ago that says, practice the pause with Christy. Be present and show her what she has to say is the most important thing as at now. I need to read that more and more. But very good session tonight. What experience, BDE.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you. Sally, would you like to participate in a wrap up tonight?
Yes, I will participate. I give tonight a 9. I thought it was great. I definitely have some work to do on deep listening. I hear people, I hear lots, but a lot of times I'm not really paying attention. So that is definitely something, and just knowing the difference too, and being aware of people's tone, their emotions, and me not labeling or giving their emotion, assuming it's the same as my definition of that emotion or feeling, is really important as well. So lots of great points that were talked about today, and slowing down. So it was a very good experience.
Great. So glad you could join us. Ashley, would you like to participate in the wrap up tonight?
Yes, I can participate. So for me, it was an 8, mostly because I got here late and it was a bit broken. For me, my biggest takeaway was just the simplicity of everything. I have been away for probably 6 years now, and so it's been good to get back, and it feels almost like yesterday with all the familiar faces and being here. Yeah, just what the last thing that Blair said, like it really truly just comes down to like the 3 beginner mind models we learned of the 3 E's. It all comes back to that, and it's very cool how simple it is and how simple it is to incorporate into your life and pick back up again.
I feel excited to meet you. I've heard so much about you from Tim, Becky, and Blair. It's really wonderful to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
Did you get Blair's free gift of the 3 E's? I know that you have a lot of experience with them, but I didn't know if you had received that link and had an interest in checking it out.
Yeah, I can get that. I have access to everything. I don't know if I've seen that before or not. So
Well, it's for you and Derek. I think
It's in the chat.
Becky has put it in the
If
chat
you
here.
want to grab that link. Yep.
You guys are fast.
So just that you might enjoy looking at that, just as it is a gift we give to people who are new. And I know you're not new, but you may not have seen it. So
sounds good. I look forward to looking at it.
okay.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Shannon, are you able to participate in wrap up tonight?
Yes. This is interesting because the word attitude conjures up a very different picture in my head than a lot of the layers we explored tonight. And in my mind offhand, it takes a more often a negative connotation, but also a more physical connotation, like movement, body posture, dance, theater, even in that context. So looking into it through the lens of the mind models was really interesting. And I think pairing it with deep listening was really fun too. I think that the early on thing that Blair said, you said, what if you don't need to filter what's being said? Is accepting it sufficient? That is like the whole umbrella for the whole thing for my brain tonight. Because it is like, and the language, Tim, you used was park myself. To truly master that skill of quieting your mind, parking yourself, and tuning into what someone else is saying, their process, their words, you know what I mean? All of that. So there was a lot, the way those two came together was highly functional in everyday life. And I think is worth some continued noodling on for more layers. Cause like I said, it hit me. It's not something I mean, we think about a lot of things on here every week, but it wasn't something that I had an immediate answer to the questions when they were asked. Like I had to sit with it and the gears were grinding a little bit. Let's see. The other comment that you were talking about, Blair, being in an is state and that there is not mine. And that made me think a lot about my work, trying to continue to hone specifically personal training sessions with people. And because I have a whole situation up here that I'm not only trying to learn, but use effectively. And then there's time I'm trying to use effectively. And to simply be in process with someone, to find a process flow and to notice, because to take my cues off of what their body is doing and what words are they using to describe what they're experiencing. So there was a lot there that was really meaningful. And I also appreciated my mom's comment about slowing down. That's really hard for me to do. If I get going teaching group classes and then I have to stop and teach a private, there is an element of gearing down and honing in a different way. And so I think the ability to kind of zoom in and out with your lens when you're listening, what perspective are you taking? What are you, is there sometimes when I'm listening, there's a purpose. I'm listening for something specific, and I do have a purpose. I want to know what sensations are they feeling in their body, or I want to know what specifically is bothering my nephew. I'm looking for something. And I think that finding a balance between the part of me that does like to look for clues through my own perspective, but also parking that and try to get through their perspective. So the role of perspective in that is something interesting to think about too.
Might I make a comment?
Please do.
Might you just try to simplify that down to hold when you're gearing from a group class to an individual? It's far simpler just to hold in that instead of gearing yourself down, shift your attention to hold them as important and see what happens. Just go, okay, I'm going to just not gear up, gear down, or do anything about me. I'm just going to focus on them. And they're going to be the most important person in my life at this moment because they're the client in front of you. And that's all.
Okay.
Just
Thank
see
you.
what happens.
Yeah,
Let me know.
absolutely. No, it's an active every week. The processes that we learn about evaluating, those have been completely essential to making the learning process that I've been going through the last 3 years with this successful and effective. It's overwhelming sometimes, but knowing that there are structural anchors into my mind to come back to with the mind models, it makes it so that the learning doesn't blow me away. And each week it improves, and I would love to continue to finesse this. So we can chat about that next week. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Shannon. Colin, would you like to participate in the wrap up tonight?
Sure. 9.5 for me tonight. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the last few days, honestly, I've had a bit of like a paradigm shift. I've done so much training and practice and everything with on listening, and coaching, and even like fiber, I've realized is not, it doesn't cut it by itself. Like it can cut it in terms of like making a person feel understood and like um making like communication work, but it it doesn't give me a level of understanding that I could have by itself. And um yeah, shifting from, I was really trying to get to the root of it. I kept pestering Blair with these questions, but like of the order of events, because for me, as forever has been like I'm trying to do several things at once when I'm talking to people and listening to them. And I've kind of come to realize that it just doesn't really work that way. Like there's a linearity to it. It's like this, experience it fully present as I can possibly be. And then only after that is there opportunity really for reflection. Like reflecting in real time is kind of a contradiction. So, um, anyway, that's where my thoughts are at with that. That's been useful.
Thank you. Let's see, Becky, would you like to participate and wrap up tonight?
And yes, 9 for me. It's been a very interesting and rich conversation. Patty, like, slow down. That for me encapsulates so much of my world when it comes to listening. And I noticed that sometimes I'm driving around with the park brake on. I'm half parked, half unparked, depending on who I'm working with. I've got like screeching happening. But being able to really slow down and be more intentional, not only with the people that I'm communicating with face to face, but also with myself. I find often I don't unpark enough to really truly listen to what I need for myself so that I can understand different things that I need to do in my own world, which is a big deal. And so I appreciate this conversation, just the scope of how me not unparking myself and listening to myself affects my attitude, and then the way in which I engage in my world. So that influence piece was really cool. So that's me tonight. Short and sweet.
Thank you. Jim?
Yeah, so it's a 9.75 for me tonight. I really enjoyed the last part when we got talking about your attitude with yourself. I have been working very intentionally on the way I speak with myself and the attitude that I use when I speak to myself, because I tend to be very hard on myself and slip into that judgment piece when things don't go as I have in my head, this idea of how it's going to come out when I'm speaking with somebody else, or, when I'm just working with anything. If it doesn't quite go as I expected, I'm very hard on myself. And I find that actually comes through when I'm having conversations with others as well. That self-judgment, that attitude that I have with myself, unfortunately, comes out more often than I'd like. And so one of the things that I've been really working on is just more of the self-love, the self-talk, not having that attitude with myself and that fair and balanced evaluation. And then it really has just, when I'm focusing on the way I'm talking to myself, it's helped when I'm having conversations with others, and that attitude that is bottled inside, as Blair kind of mentioned. We have that attitude monster, if you will, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde inside. When one parking one and focusing on the other, who's really running the show. And so just paying attention to myself and how I'm speaking to myself. Because when I'm working with others, I've been able to park myself. And I actually really enjoyed tonight the conversation between Colin and Blair. I found myself at one point, trying to analyze conversations and, okay, what did they say and what questions to ask next, and and all these things, and then I wasn't actually listening to them. And so really just being able to park all of that internal self-talk as well, like I mentioned, the talk that goes on in here, and really just pay attention to the other that I'm engaged with, and just experiencing what they're saying it makes the conversation so much more fluid. It's really listening to them, and I get so much more out of the conversation and where it goes. So just those couple things, really how I talk to myself and how that comes through when I'm in a conversation with others. I've just really enjoyed that. So
Great.
that's it.
Thanks so much, Tim. Blair, your wrap up tonight?
Again, I'm in that 9.25 area. For me personally, I liked being able to share uh, tips and tricks, as it were, ways I manage my mind from time to time, being present and just holding people important. It makes life simple and effective, and it holds me in the present. So I like that. I generally like that a lot. So that's my thing. I love how you guys go. Sally, so nice to see you here again. Ashley, great to see you back. Derek, glad you're here as well. So looking forward to seeing more of the three of you, I hope. So anyway, yeah, that's about it for me. Thanks.
Thanks. We appreciate all your tips and tricks. That is part of our purpose for being here, is to learn to manage our thoughts, learn to manage our brains, and therefore be able to influence our lives in an effective manner. We can influence ourselves. We can control ourselves. We can make our worlds better. So we very much appreciate the opportunity to learn from you, Blair.
You're very welcome.
So for me tonight, a 9.
Shane, sorry, Shane wanted to say something too.
Oh, I did not see that. Okay, go.
It's okay, Patty. I was just going to ask if you would like to participate in the wrap up.
Oh, I was just getting there, but thank you. Jackie is the one who started that for me. I went for no, Jackie. I went for so many months without even thinking about participating in the wrap up when I would do this. And Jackie's like, "Well, excuse me." So I'm like, okay. Anyway, so for me, the listening to attitude with yourself, I find that my world is much simpler. The way that Blair described, with holding someone else is important with care and concern and making them my focus. That part is reasonably comfortable for me. But listening to the way I talk to myself, the attitude I take with myself, that opened up a new area for me tonight. And I appreciate that shift in paradigm for myself. So definitely a 9 for me tonight. So Becky, would you like to take us out?
Yes. All right, you guys, we appreciate everybody who's participated both here live with us on Zoom and those who are out on YouTube. Again, we're here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you're on YouTube and you're listening and you'd like to join us live on the panel here, actually be able to interact, ask questions live, please make sure that you go to blairdunkley.com. You'll be able to find a link where you can register for the BDE live and be able to join us here. And again, as a reminder, Blair has put together an incredible opportunity to get more in-depth training and insights on what we're talking about here on the BDE tied to the episode. So if you liked what we chatted about tonight, make sure you get your hands on his study guide. It's from episode 318 and every single one since then moving forward. You'll be able to get more insights, kind of as a refresher or a deeper dive on the things that we talk about. Some of the things we discussed may not have been fully covered, and so be able to get some extra nuggets there. Again, it's $25 a month or $300 a year. So make sure you go to blairdunkley.com/BDE Insider Notes. If you're out on YouTube, you can get your hands on that For those of you with us on Zoom, I've dropped the link in the chat so that you can go ahead and sign up. And again, we look forward to seeing you next week. Again, we started a series, so we're going to go a little bit deeper in this deep listening, but cover some other aspects. So just lost my tongue, my tongue twisted just a second ago. So make sure that you join us. If you know anybody that you feel would gain value and insight from learning these simple concepts, please invite them. We love to have them. This is a community. We want to make it an open place for everybody to come and learn how to become more effective with simple, impactful, and powerful processes that you can use to shape and shift your life. With that, we'll see you guys all next week.
Almost. Could you just remind people to like, comment, and share, please, on YouTube? So, Jane, if you're there, please check the like and thumbs up. It would be great. And that sort of thing. So just sharing.
Okay. Yes. So recap, if you're on YouTube, like Blair said, please make sure you comment, like, and share with your friends. And again, we'd love to grow our community. So if you know somebody that you feel would benefit from being on BDE or listening to it, please share it to them. And with that, we'll see you next Tuesday, again, 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.